Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Quintessa Hathaway of A Talk with the Community and Q Hathaway and Associates LLC. I've been feeling a little bit pressed to have a conversation, not just simply a one-way conversation. So it'd be great if everyone that decided to jump on just pose some questions to me, and I'll respond to them accordingly. Um, there have been a lot of things that have been going on socially, politically, academically, and the educational field. And I just felt the need to have a conversation with you all. Um, there are about 7 points that I really want to discuss, one of which is voter registration. As we know, the upcoming general election is going to be held Tuesday, November 3rd, just under 100 days before we as a nation decide who are going to be our local, state, and national officials. And during that time, we have an opportunity to change or revolutionize exactly who are going to be our elected officials and who will represent us on our behalf of this democratic nation in which we live. It is going to be necessary for us to mobilize. We know that it is ever more pressing, ever more important for us to elect individuals that not only represent our interests, but it's also okay to vote as a tribe. I believe the opposing party, that's who I'm going to call them, at this time, has done a fabulous job of putting forth a message, and even those on the other side are able to vote as a tribe, vote as a specific race, if we can really be unpolitically correct. So it's okay for us to do the same in minority communities. If we choose to vote based upon gender, we have the freedom to be able to do so. So I put that charge forward as well. It's okay for us to do so, especially given the climate in which we live. So we're going to need to mobilize those to go to the polls. I know on election day, what I'll be doing, anyone in the central Arkansas area, most specifically in Pulaski County, if you need a way to the polls, I guess I'll put my email down in the middle. You all let me know, and I'm willing to drive people to the polls on election day, even given the virus. I just got tested for the virus too over the weekend. I'm coronavirus negative, thanks be to God. Um, so if you all need a way to the polls, please inform me. Send me an email. Send me a text if you have my number directly. Go on my website, qhathawayandassociates.com, or go on a talkwiththecommunity.com. Those two websites interface with one another. So if you all need a way to the polls on election day, please let me know. Also, regarding that, if you all need a ballot, an absentee ballot, please let me know about that as well. I'm opening up, whatever I can do in my capacity to be able to assist in this electoral process. I'm going to put myself totally on the line for this specific election as I have for others. So you all just let me know if you need an absentee ballot. We can go through the paperwork. I can, drop it off at your door and come by and pick it back up, whatever we need to do. That also goes for voter registration. If you live in Pulaski County, if you live in the state of Arkansas, you know some individuals that need to still register to vote. Have them reach out to me, and I will ensure that they will get a voter registration application, and I will physically deliver it to the state capitol for them. Also, anyone that lives in the state of Tennessee, that's my home base, that's my native land, and I'm willing to do those things for individuals in that region as well. Um, there's a quote that I kind of live by from our brother Malcolm X. He said that we should not whine, we need to mobilize. And this is one of those times in which it's necessary. It also ties into another point that I call this time period the second civil rights movement. And one reason why the first civil rights movement was so effective and able to move not simply from the streets but to physical legislation was because of their lobbying efforts, because of their intentionality and being concerned with what legislation looks like to benefit specific communities in this country. So in order for this second wave or this second civil rights movement to be fully implemented, it's going to have to be sustainable. We can't just do this year. We can't just do this next year. Even if we decide to change the head of our government to a member of the Democratic Party, go Joe Biden, go Team Joe, we will still need to put some pressure on him as well as his cabinet and our state and local officials to reflect our interests. People of color in this country have the exact same interests as or similar interests as those in the majority um, population. So saying that we still need good schools, we still need good roads, we still need infrastructure, we still need quality education, we still need economic empowerment, all those things that are important to everyone else's community still trickle down to us. We are not on an island doing something, outside of the norm. So it's necessary for us to be a part of that equation and put forth an agenda that directly impacts us over a sustained period of time. So we need to buy into this second civil rights movement. As I said just a short while ago, we talked about economic mobility. I know that many businesses, specifically small businesses, nonprofit organizations have been enriched or able to extend themselves during this time period because of the Small Business Administration providing funding to various organizations. We've been able to receive capital in various forms as well as additional resources. That is just one piece that is necessary for us to be able to improve our lot as a people. So that is going to be another thing that we need to put on the agenda as well. Moving forward, as I said, this doesn't just need to be a 2020 event. I know that many of us have been upset about what has been going on politically, how things have played out in Minneapolis. We've been highly upset over the course of the last 30 years. That's where I place the second civil rights movement. It kind of all typified, in my opinion, with Rodney King. And, I say that to other people as well. Go back to Trayvon Martin. We go back to Gina Six. I know some of those things are not necessarily on our radar right now. We don't have those conversations as much, but those things were a part of this overall equation as well. And it's necessary for us to still talk about those things, talk about those impediments that occurred historically, more so in our contemporary history, but it's still a part of what has been happening to people of color, those that are vulnerable in our country, and we're still seeking equity as well as equality at the exact same time. Um, I know that we are slowly awaiting for Vice President Joe Biden to announce who he is going to select as his running mate. If you all see some of my pictures online, I attended an event back in March at the Little Rock headquarter office. I've been supporting Joe Biden from the very beginning. I say that simply because I believe Joe has the juice. I know that I'm being a bit colloquial, but sometimes, we can step outside of that professionalism piece all the time. And I say that because, we need someone that's tried and true. We see what happens when we allow incompetence to reign at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And we just cannot take those kind of chances another 4 years. I believe that he has the drive, the competency, um, and even our interests at his best. When he goes to bed at night, he will be thinking about those that are most vulnerable, most susceptible, those that are lacking, our communities that have been ravaged each and every night, as opposed to what we have experienced over the last 4 years. So, for that reason, I support Vice President Joe Biden. Another point that I have written down is about power and freedom. Right now, I'm reading intermittently about three books. One is by Stokely Carmichael and Dr. Charles B. Hamilton, and it's called Black Power and the Politics of Liberation. And it talks about coalition building. It also discusses how we can attain power. African Americans specifically can attain power within our own communities. what we need to do is to build a system. We can get some buy-in from those that are considered as um, a part of our coalition, those that are truly aspiring to work with us. But we need to do some building within ourselves too, um, and use history as a guide to be able to propel ourselves forward. So that's one really good book that I'm reading right now. Before I went live, I probably should have brought it here in my office with me, but that's okay too. That book is called Black Power: The Politics of Liberation by Kwame Ture, also known as Stokely Carmichael and Dr. Charles Lee Hamilton. Another book I'm reading right now, we all know, we lost a renowned civil rights figure and icon, Congressman John Lewis. And I've been reading this book kind of off and on for about a year now. He actually autographed a copy for me when he was here in Little Rock about 5 years ago. The book is called Across That Bridge. This book may not necessarily be known by many. A lot of people know about his book, Walking in the Wind, which I need to go pick up, as well as March 1, 2, and 3, the comic historical autobiographical novel. I have those back on my bookcase as well, all three books. And I've taught from those too over the years. But that book is just a chronicle of his life. Talks about his involvement in the movement. It's also very inspirational for current, future political leaders, as well as those that are just activists in their community. So that book is really good. And there's another book that I've been kind of picking up and reading from time to time. I originally purchased it while I was in undergrad at the Jackson State University. It's called American Journey. It's a brown cover book, and it just talks about history. I think it's pretty hot. It's pretty good. Um, so those three texts in particular keep some of my interest. Also, I have a new blog piece that's coming out this week from a talk with the community. It's called "Remembering a Generation." Remembering a generation. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been picking around with it for about a week and a half now, and it talks specifically about how um, the old guard, our elected officials, civil rights activists, they're aging. And it just pays tribute, pays honor to them while they are living, even now that some of them have transitioned. I know this year in particular, activist Charles Evers in Mississippi passed around the exact same time as Congressman Lewis passed, as well as Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian, as well as um, Reverend Joseph Lowry passed this year as well. So on my specific newsletter has the pictures of all four men. There was also an elected official that served in the city council, and he was a businessman up in Memphis. Forgive me, but I should remember that by now too. But he passed away recently within this year as well. So it just pays homage to those that have gone on and done the hard work for each and every one of us. I just ask that you all continue to pay attention to a talk with the community. As you all know, that's my heartbeat. I feel like that's a part of my greatest work. Thank you all for sticking in with me over the last 7 years that it has been up and running. Tell your friends, tell your family that I'm around. I'm still politically active and engaged. Although I won't be at the convention next week, let's tune in and pay attention to what is being stated, because there's going to be a platform that will be put forward over the next 4 and possibly 8 years. And it's going to be necessary for us to listen, to be engaged, to be active on all levels, both Democratic up and down the ballot. Even if you have to hold your nose and turn your face a little bit as you do so, but vote Democratic all across the nation. And let's see this blue wave go forward, because so much is at stake. If you didn't know about the political process before 2016, I think we all know what it's all about now. Um, just turn on the news, read the paper, and pay attention. Thank you all. A talkwiththecommunity.com, Q Hathaway and Associates.com. Have a good one.